Yeah. Well, obviously they can get re-elected. It's just the and like they can, like the Tories did serve for quite a long time, but it's the concept of the public should be able to make a decision on who gets into power. Once they're in power, it should then be like a competency test as opposed to a popular test, because the competency should be the country gets better year on year, um, through whatever objective scoring you'd want to choose. That doesn't necessarily mean that GDP goes up one year, although you would hope that GDP is a pretty strong barometer of that. But let's say they're having to invest into the military service or mass deportations or things like that. That could negatively affect GDP, but it's good for socioeconomics. And these things you kind of need to leave people in power to be able to do. Like, because to me, the worst thing about democracy is that the people have too much of a say once they're in power, and that's how the politicians and the state manipulate the people, because they use the media as a way to manipulate people on popular ideas, not ideas that are actually good for the country, which is where, unfortunately, where places like the CCP in China can do much better, because they can take a long-term vision and just navigate around.
This is an idea. We could vote in a 10-year term, of which every year, a bit like an AGM, where we actually get something sent out on a blockchain to go, these are the 15 things we announced we were going to do in the 10-year plan. How are we doing on this, this, and this? 1 to 5. If they get 4 and 5s, they can stay in. If it gets to 3 or 2, as soon as they get relegated on those things, it automatically goes, right, you're not doing a good enough job for the people. We need to do do another election. And this should just keep them accountable on the things they committed to 10 years ago.
Yeah,
Would that not work better? So you're
yeah,
taking the populist vote out. You can get feedback directly from what the people are feeling, and it will just change the whole mindset of what they're trying to what they're standing for.
yeah. No, I somewhat agree, mate. I think one of the biggest things, though, to think about is, why have they done this? So this is the establishment going, we've had Starmer in, we've got him to rock the boat and push all these agendas and all these things that demoralise the people, that ruin the state. He's working on behalf of Wyeth. We know that Larry Fink, from BlackRock, who's a big part of Wyeth, came in to Starmer when he was first appointed to have a consultation. These are the people who said you'll own nothing and be happy. These are the people who want the European status across Europe. They want everyone to sing off the same Brussels hymn sheet. They want us to give away our fisheries, give away our oil, give away our steelworks, like just give away all of our sovereignty, because they know that the UK is a threat to the European idea. And that's the guy who was in power, as well as then all the Islamification of our system, of the constitution, of what is effectively the constitution of the UK. It's just like, it's all so wrong, and it's not what the people voted for. And then they've gone, all right, Starmer's unpopular now. Let's just swap him in for Andy Burnham because he's won the by-election in Makerfield, and they'll just kind of swap him in,
Yeah,
get rid of Starmer as if
distraction
Starmer was the issue, but it wasn't. It's the establishment behind Starmer. Starmer's just a
underline.
mouthpiece. They put another
And the worst
mouthpiece.
thing is, it's so deep, it's so intertwined that even if Restore or Reform get in, they're going to be under so much pressure anyway by the same think tanks and the same blobs, whatever they're called, that very little will change over a short period of time. And they'll use all the media to just try and attack them, to say they're just doing this and that, and it's religion,
Yeah.
and now it's race, and now it's this, that, and the other, and it'll just be everything else but the core problems they're trying to sort out, and that's how
Solves
it
the
all
issue.
could play out. It'll just be going round
Exactly.
and
Yeah,
round
it
and
is.
round again.
The government establishment, the deep state, the non-elected officials, the Bank of England chair, they are all the problem, and they need to go. And Liz Truss does some good talking on this, and this is what she wanted. It's what she did when she got in. Like, her manifesto would have saved the country.
Mm.
And obviously, the Bank of England recognised that straight away, sold off a load of bonds the night before to spook the market, blamed the spooking of the market on Liz Truss, when actually it was them just getting rid of essentially some laced-in debt to the pension market, and that's effectively what happened. For them to just go, oh, it's all Liz Truss's fault. She spooked the bond market. No, the Bank of England did that through a back door, and that's all. That's all like public knowledge. We know that now, and yet they still like blame Liz Truss.
Where's her political? Is she part of Restore yet?
Allegiance. I think she's somewhat independent at the moment, but she certainly has like allegiances on the right side of politics. But we'll see what she does. Rupert Lowe's obviously gaining a lot of traction, and I've said many times in this podcast that he will be the next. He'll be the PM that gets us out of the finally. But he's not ready yet. Restore needs a lot of infrastructure. So will Labour make the next year? Because Andy Burnham's going to get in and he's going to do all the same Starmer had wrapped up slightly differently, and he's going to keep destroying the country. What does the next mini budget look like? Like, I think we're just going to see like obliteration of the Labour Party, and I do think they will be like sentenced to the Hague, and they will be untouchable for many decades after what they've done. Who then gets in? Because Restore's not ready yet to get in. Maybe a coalition. I do like Kemi, but she's a part of that same rotten establishment that destroyed us for 14 years. Reform's looking a bit weird because they've inherited a lot of the same people from that conservative establishment that helped to rot the country in the first place. So what is Reform becoming? Like a quasi ex like conservative party with Nigel as sort of this like it just seems like a popularist figurehead that doesn't care too much about what's actually good for the country and much more about himself. But now they've got this kind of split right, and sort of what alignments happen, and then you've got Polanski on the other side, who's just a lunatic. So if I don't think Labour's not making it to 29. There's no way they're making it to 29 unless they radically change how they're governing. But then who gets in the meantime? That's gonna be a little bit spooky, boys. But at the
Who
moment, the
knows,
swap
mate?
rate market seems somewhat stable. So, and that's what, as developers, obviously we care about bond market effect on swap rates, and then the swap rates and bond market effects on interest rates for us when we're borrowing debt. At the moment, it seems to be fairly stable in light of Keir Starmer um, leaving government. So who knows? But should we get into Andy Burnham a little bit? So, like, who is this guy that's likely to take the PMC?